Welcome to the Cult of Comics podcast, the only show where the price of admission is the same as the price of submission. I'm your host, Tyler. We're here today with Sean and Josh. How's it going, guys?
Hello.
Hey.
Hey.
How are we doing on this this beautiful Sunday, May 9th, Mother's Day, 2021?
I've already done my requisite duties. I made some good food.
Was it good?
Yeah. Cashews, chicken and rice, peppers, green onions.
Oh.
You are from Ohio.
What?
It could be worse.
It's a good Asian dish. Cashews, chicken, and rice, man.
You're looking at me like with such disapproval. It's fantastic. So today is Sunday, May 9th. It is Mother's Day. Most of us have gotten our duties done. I kind of have, but I have a prior engagement that I need to get to later. So we are going to be condensing this episode just a scotch, just a
maybe,
just a scotch.
We're on the clock today.
Yeah, we're on the clock. Listen, we're doing a countdown, 45 minutes from now. That's all we're going to do. And start. Let's talk about the comic for this week. Comic book club. Let's go. Round up.
Are we skipping?
Which one are we going to talk about first?
The news, or are we going straight into comics?
I don't know. What are we doing? What was the script?
We didn't even plan for this. There is no plan. We're winging
Marvel
it.
Titles.
Marvel titles.
So we've got Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, and the Marvels.
Did you get hyped up watching that video?
I got very hyped up.
It was a really good video. Marvel released a video kind of celebrating the movies. It had a bit of an announcement with Stan Lee talking about what it was like going to experiencing stories. It was talking about the plans for the Marvel future, leading up obviously with Black Widow. And then we got Spider-Man, new Spider-Man film, whatever the hell it's called.
Oh yeah, they didn't even include the title for that yet. It just still...
No, they did. I just don't actually...
No Way Home.
Yeah.
Right.
No Way Home.
It's stuck in the multiverse with the other Spider-Man. Yeah.
No,
right.
And that's
we already got that.
Talking about for news is that Andrew Garfield has come out in the news saying that he is not in the film at all, and that he wishes people would chill the hell out. His words were something along the lines
I don't believe you. I don't believe him.
You don't have to believe me. You just have to believe
I don't believe him. I said I don't believe him. I don't believe you. I don't believe him. I 100% expect him to be there. And if he is not in the movie, I will riot.
I'm not even joking when I say this. I don't really even want to see it at this point anymore.
They've got to be in it. The amount of teasing that's happened. You got Jamie Foxx.
The amount of saying
Molina.
no.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what Sean's all about. Everyone keeps saying no, and Sean's like, yes.
Yeah. 99 no's and a yes.
I don't take no for an answer.
You're like Sean Connery back in the original heydays.
Just hitting women.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Happy Mother's Day, everybody.
Yeah. Sean, what did you do for your mother today?
It wasn't Mother's Day today in the UK, so...
No, it's Mother's Day in America, so it's Mother's Day everywhere.
No, it's not. Mother's Day everywhere else was back in March.
Okay.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Oh, why are we
America changed it for some reason.
It's because we're just obnoxious and kind of cunts. That's why.
Yeah. The rest of the world, it ties into Lent.
It's religious?
Yeah.
I didn't know that, actually. But again, I'm an American, so surprise, surprise.
We're heathens.
Yeah.
You're somehow super religious and heathens at the same time.
Yeah. No, don't you understand? God lives in the American flag. God died upon the cross that was the American flagpole.
I remember that.
I love babies. Don't kill babies with an abortion, and buy my AR-15s down at Walmart.
I learned that in kindergarten.
Obviously, that's our salute every morning. So as far as continuing with the news, why don't you believe that though?
Because I don't know. It's got to be a big surprise.
He doesn't want to live in a world where it's not happening.
I mean, I don't either.
Oh no, I'm being honest. A tiny part of me hopes that they're not in it just because I want to see Twitter implode with hatred. It will be glorious.
Every waking second, there's something new that they're blowing up about. That's why I hopped off there. Also because sent MI6 after me.
Right. Was your choice.
Yeah. Is there ever been in a case before, especially with like a superhero film, where people were denying, and then it turns out that it was all true? I mean, Dan Slott was
all the time.
Like what? Give me an example here.
Well, I can't think of it off the top of my head, but like when Chris Evans was, denying coming back for anything, there were plenty of people citing all sorts of other times. People were saying, "No, I'm not in this," but I can't think of what they were citing at this specific time.
Sean Connery said he wouldn't come back for James Bond, and he did because they offered him a fuckload of money.
Actually, the reason for that in specific was because he said, "I don't want to come back for James Bond," but he kind of let it be something where he could if he wanted to. I mean, he only did how many films after he came back? 2?
1.5.
1.5?
Well, he did one that like wasn't official. It was like
that doesn't make any sense. How do you do 1.5 films?
Well, he did like one. He did Diamonds Are Forever, and then he did Never Say Never Again, which was an unofficial James Bond film.
Like 25.5. How did you have sex with a half a person?
Well, no, it wasn't official.
Did you dip their balls in? Was that it? Does it not count? You have to let me know. There's like specifics here that we're not talking about.
Well, he did one in the official James Bond timeline. Then he did one for another studio that was made because they owned the rights to one specific James Bond story. And so it wasn't actually produced by like the normal team that have done all of them.
Interesting.
Yeah.
This is news that I just found out, but I think this falls along with, and we're not going to go into a James Bond thing because every time we do, we go off the rails. But
Sean Connery is my favorite.
Okay, I respect that. Did you hear about who's doing the script for the new James Bond?
The Bond that's already been filmed?
Yeah.
Oh.
No Time to Die?
Yeah.
Phoebe Waller-Bridge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know the story about that?
No.
Apparently the script was so bad originally that Daniel Craig was like, I'm not doing this film unless this is rewritten by her.
Yeah. Oof. Okay. Sounds like something I heard.
Right?
That's pretty bad.
I know that she was doing like a rewrite of the
film. They said they needed her to polish up dialogue or something. That was the official.
About a lot of things. I don't know. I haven't seen Fleabag yet, but I've been hearing nothing but praise for it.
Yeah, and Killing Eve,
I've
good
seen
stuff
bits and
as well.
pieces. Okay. Heard good things.
I'm actually probably going to start on it like maybe tonight, depending on what happens. But yeah, I mean,
all right. Next bit of news.
What is the next bit of news? We got to talk about Ali Wong.
Yeah, Ali Wong was cast in Paper Girls.
And who is she?
The character is...
Who is she?
I don't know. I just bought the 6 volumes of Paper Girls, and I still need to read it.
Well, then I'm not going to spoil anything for you, but I will tell you that she is an important character. Ali Wong is in a lot of stuff right now. It's her and Awkwafina that are getting cast in like any Asian roles at this point. They're like Asian characters, throw them in. We need them now.
Yeah, definitely blowing up right now.
I mean, good for them. I'm just thinking that I just think it's funny that they're just like, well, we really need like a really popular Asian character right now. Okay, well, we're gonna like go straight to these people.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, you got like a gigantic selection of great actors that you could be hiring as well. And that's not me complaining about them. I actually like them as comedians and musicians and actors. I actually do. I just think it's funny. Like Raya the Last Dragon, they went to Awkwafina. Good choice though, because her voice is very unique.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is an interesting time for Asian Americans right now. Well, actually, Asian people in general, which we're going to get into later because I'm actually really excited about that book we're going to talk about. What else do we have for news?
I think that was it.
About it? Okay. Yeah, news was really short and light this week. Pretty much everything has been about, well, what would happen if Thanos had this or chose this time back in 1968? This stories. That's what Comic Book Resource is and comicbook.com. They're bored. They have nothing better to do with their time. So we're going to jump into the comic book club, comic book roundup of good stuff that we read this week. We have read a big selection of amazing books this week. I'm very pumped about. It's been great media coming out left and right.
It's been a strong week.
Right in. It's been a strong week, not just for comic books, but it's been a strong month for media in general, and I'm really pumped about it. But I'm also overwhelmed because my wallet is running a little dry, and I am a little overwhelmed with the amount of good stories that are coming out. And
I think you're going to be surprised with what my weakest book of the week this week was.
I think I know what you're going to say, and I'm going to already tell you right now, you're wrong and you're stupid. Going into it, we're going to talk about...
No. Which one do you think?
I think that you think that Batman 108 was the weakest one.
Maybe.
Yeah, you're an idiot. Boom. Headshots. Anyways, we're going to jump into The Good Asian by Pornsak Pichetshote. I can never say
Pichetshote.
Thank you. With Alexandre Tefenkgi.
I am so glad you did the name for me because I didn't want to say it.
Well, it looks like it's either like Russian or like French, so I said it. Tefenkgi. Sorry.
No, I mean both of those. Like the writer and artist. I'm glad I didn't have to do either of them.
Yeah. Well, we covered this like a month or two ago. We were trying to figure out.
We talked about it
during the solicits.
Yeah.
Solicit for this.
Well, because we were both all really hyped up about this book because, I mean, who else here is a really big fan of criminal books here? Because it's me and then someone else.
Like them enough. I wouldn't say I was a huge fan of this genre, but it is a genre I enjoy.
Yeah.
Well, the reason why I asked is just because of like the Ed Brubaker books that have been coming out. I've
never read Criminal.
Oh, like Criminal?
You don't even need to read Criminal. Like you can even
read I read Pulp. Pulp kind of had a similar... it was in a similar era to this, wasn't it?
Well, you guys keep talking about how you want a detectives type story for Detective Comics.
Yeah. Well, we got that with Detective Comics, and then this last week, that was a fantastic detective story.
It was so good.
This is the noir stuff that I want to read.
Yeah.
So
yeah, kind of a Dick Tracy type.
Yeah. Okay, before we get into it, let me ask you guys: did you read the follow-up written by the author?
Yeah. I think it's kind of interesting that this is going on. This is set in 1936. Sure. And at the same time, I'm watching Warrior, TV show set in San Francisco in the early 1880s. Mm-hmm. So this all kind of bookends talking about the Chinese Exclusion Act that started in 1882 and was repealed in 1943 that basically banned anybody from Asia to immigrate to the U.S.
The thing about that point in time for the U.S. is that it's something that was not covered in my history lessons pretty much at all. You know, it was something that was very heavily glossed over. And it's kind of something that was discussed to me recently is this attitude now of when it comes to racist policy and actions, that a lot of the flaw in our mindset now is that so many people have been brought up with this idea that all of that was in the past. All of that was stuff that is not something that people deal with anymore. And that's just not factual. And we should be looking at history as it's currently happening as well. And that it's just interesting that this is all tying in while Asian oppression is actually occurring across the world, that stories like this are happening, that these conversations are being had. It's that, what's that effect that you were talking about? Baader-Meinhof?
Oh yeah, Baader-Meinhof, where typically it's a thing you just learn keeps popping up everywhere.
Okay.
You just finally notice all these things at once.
I just think it's interesting that there's so much like Shang-Chi is coming out this year. Great timing.
In the next year. The trailer just came out, so I think it's September.
I think it's sooner than that. Is it maybe August?
It's like every other month there's a new Marvel movie coming out. So July is when Black Widow comes out. I would say probably the beginning of September is when.
Yeah, September 3rd.
I really apologize for this bad comparison, but it's the first thing that comes to mind. Do you guys remember when Paul Blart Mall Cop came out?
Yeah.
What was the movie that Seth Rogen was in? Observe and Report. That came out like 2 months within the same window.
Yeah. There's a name for that, where similar movies come out, kind of parallel movies come out at the same time.
Yeah. And then not even like a year later was that Clint Eastwood movie about Richard Jewell, a security guard. Like all of a sudden.
No, that Richard Jewell movie came out like a year and a half ago.
Richard Jewell came out a year and a half ago?
The Clint Eastwood one, yeah.
I thought that came out back in like 2010 or something.
No. It might have been a different Richard Jewell film.
No, probably not. Well, either way, I guess the thing I'm just saying is that it's interesting that so many of these things, coming out at the same time. It's just a very interesting experience. What did you guys think of this book?
I liked it.
Yeah, it's pretty good. I'm not sure. I was really drawn in by the start, the first.
I really liked the first scene, and there was some of the later stuff I didn't really like.
Oh, I don't know. I like the Golden Gate Bridge. The description of the Golden Gate was kind of weird, talking about it's a gate or something like that, when it's talking about the protection of the bay from more bad weather or bad waters from out at sea. So they're kind of protected at that San Francisco Bay.
Mm-hmm.
This is right around the time that the Golden Gate Bridge was just built, so it's brand new.
Okay. I mean, I wasn't really aware of the history of it, so I kind of just took it as like face value with some like exposition there. So,
yeah.
This was the reason why I asked about the follow-up, the afterwards by the author, is because something that was mentioned was Charlie Chan, and Asian noir, and it wasn't just that I learned a lot from this book, but that I enjoyed the storytelling experience. I actually didn't think I was going to enjoy this book, but I really enjoyed the way that this was written. I think that there was some points where the art was a little weak, but I don't really...
Yeah, I agree. I think some of the scenes more like in daylight and stuff where it suffered a little.
Yeah.
There are certain points where it feels like the art is from like a webcomic blog or something.
Yeah, I see that.
Maybe the ones that are supposed to be flashbacks.
Kinda. I mean, it's not just that. It's also like certain points and angles where the main character will have his like fedora tipped down and he's like standing in darkness. And there's a lot of really strong color and character design in this, but it still kind of feels like...
Yeah.
It's hard to pinpoint the difference between the two. Because like, okay, I'll give you an example. When you look at Chris Samnee, for example, he has a very specific style of art that can be construed as cartoonish to an extent, but at the same time, the characters aren't chibi or overly young looking. They don't look like they belong in a child's cartoon. A lot of the characters in this book do kind of look like that. I don't think it detracts from the story. It's just something that kept coming up in my mind when I was reading it. The coloring that they chose on this really like hit me to add to the storytelling experience, and that's a big reason why I enjoyed this so much.
Yeah, I'd say like the aesthetics, like even with the coloring, it did feel very reminiscent of that time period.
Yeah, I like the the zeroing in on the details with the red rectangles. Kind of reminded me of Psych or other detective stories.
Yeah,
but it's a great way of noting details.
Yeah, I think Andrea Sorrentino does it as well.
Yes, yeah, he does.
I've seen it in Green Arrow before.
He's done it in a few books where it's just meant to, assist with the drawing in of the eyes. I've seen some other artists start to implement that now into their storytelling as well. But, there's some creators who just do it in a way that you're just like, yep, I know, like, this is very intentional. This is very well thought out. I mean,
I think
I like this.
Yeah, I think the character was interesting enough. We had like a little bit of hints at his background, and I'm excited to see that sort of unfold more.
I was hoping we get a little more of that. Like he's like, oh, I need to not, be an asshole right now, kind of thing. Like I need to not lie to this kid. Don't need to fall back into that pattern. So he's not, a squeaky clean guy. He's got his own problems, things that he doesn't like about himself, or things he thinks he doesn't do the right way.
And I think it's going to be interesting to see that sort of unfold in later issues as we do.
I thought we would have at least seen like, a good example of that in this first issue.
Yeah.
You know, I think he says it about his adoptive brother, but I think he might be talking about himself too. You know, he's talking about not falling into that routine again. He says, no matter how many leaves you turn, no leaves are truly new.
Mm. I am wondering about the relationship with his adoptive sister and what that's going to do in the future. I feel like that's kind of foreshadowing either an encounter or maybe something that happened in his past that has developed like his own self-loathing or something, but it's just interesting to have that in there.
I'm guessing either, you know, he is attracted to girls that remind him of his sister, or he did have an encounter with her. It's kind of hard to tell from the little flashbacks that we're getting.
You know what? That's a call out, because that would make sense. Like some of his affinity towards those white prostitutes.
Yeah. Well, I think I'm not sure if those were prostitutes or not. I thought those were just flappers. That's more of a 1920s thing.
Well, that's what I was confused about. So it's 1936. I'm not really sure about what the fashion was in the 30s with dresses like that.
But
I know
that last frame with the pink kind of smeared everywhere, I'm thinking that might be blood, but I'm not, 100% sure on that. It also seems to hint that Mr. Carraway, Mason Carraway, might be his father, because he is like, there's no coincidences that his adoptive father became romantic with their Chinese maid here in San Francisco, and that his mom had been his maid long ago in Hawaii.
I did not think about that. So you're saying that it's not that he's just adoptive, but like maybe he was the bastard.
Yeah.
Okay.
It seems like he suspects that maybe Carraway is his father.
Huh. I didn't pick up on that at all. That's a really good call out.
Where is it?
See, this is why we have Josh on the show.
Yeah.
Good with the details.
Like the main character in the story.
Yeah. So it says, the more I think of Ma, I can't help reminding myself I don't believe in coincidences. And the idea of Mason falling for one Chinese maid, like I said, I don't believe in coincidences.
Okay. Yeah, you know what? That's a good point. Okay.
So either, at least he's thinking that his mom might have been romantically connected to Mr. Carraway.
Sure. I feel like there was a really interesting point made in the afterward, talking about how even though Charlie Chan was a racist figure, it was an interesting introduction to what could have been, and that was a big point for what the inspiration for this book was, which is, an Asian Chinatown noir kind of storytelling experience. And my only experience with Chinatown and noir storytelling is in the movie Chinatown, starring Jack Nicholson, and it's kind of following along that similar mentality, that vein of like, it doesn't really matter because it's fucking Chinatown. This attitude of like, who cares in the public sphere.
Yeah. I mentioned Warrior before, and there's a lot of parallels between that and the show. They use a lot of the same terminology. You see a lot of the things that were originating in Warrior being already ingrained here. The Chinatown squad going around, I don't think they showed taking kickbacks or not in here. But like I said, a lot of terminology.
Okay. Sean, thoughts?
As we've been talking, I have realized I didn't finish this. So that's why I've been quiet.
Were you not captivated by it? Or
I was. I must have put it down to do something because I got distracted and just assumed I finished it.
Oh,
so yeah.
Okay. I really recommend finishing it. I think
I got about 2/3 of the way in.
Okay.
Because I'm just looking through it now.
Missed the last act.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's a bit of stuff going on.
So I'm just a terrible person.
Yes, you are. But we already knew that. Josh.
We did.
without spoiling it for Sean.
You can spoil it.
No, it's okay. I want the challenge to work around this. Sean, Josh, do you think the discovery at the end is a conspiracy? Because I feel like...
Yeah, there's something going on here.
That's what I feel like. It feels like the insinuation is that they're using the tongs as like a tool to be racists in China.
Yeah, but it's the same. Like I said, that was another one of the parallels with Warrior, where the people in government are trying to set up a war between the Tongs and the Weilongs. Yeah. So they're trying to set up a war between the two of them so they can start the Exclusion Act.
Okay. Interesting. Huh. Okay. Cool. Well, I don't really want to go into too much more because I would like Sean to read it and get a good sense of things. So do you want to move on to Nocterra 3?
Yeah, so Nocterra number 3, Scott Snyder and Tony Daniel, singular.
I've got thoughts, but I would love for you to go first.
I'm still really enjoying this. It's it's heavy action and it's really enjoyable to read. It's not too deep, but it's still better than some of what Scott Snyder's written recently.
Yeah, it's not slowing down. It keeps going.
Yeah, it's full speed ahead.
It's really enjoyable. I don't know what it is about post-apocalypse stories, but I fall for them very easily every time, even if they're bad. And this is really enjoyable.
It's well written for what it is.
I just like the lore that's being built with it. I'm really enjoying these shade mutations that are happening, and I'm really into it.
Yeah.
And the bad guy design's really cool, which is strange to say because there isn't a design for him. He's just pitch black.
Just a black boy.
Yeah.
But yeah,
the shiny teeth.
The artwork is great. I think it's some of Tony Daniel's best he's done, and the coloring's great in it. The way we see the way they handle light and luminescence in the coloring,
I think it
works
glows
really well. Yeah, it really does glow, and the scene towards the end where you got all the glowing handprints, and
fantastic.
It looked great.
I do have criticism about Tony Daniel's work. I have noticed this as well before. His faces, he can only do so many expressions.
Yeah, the facial expressions are the worst part of his art.
Yeah.
Which is that, and I also think that he has a bit of an issue with depth. Like sometimes when I'm looking at his characters flying, it seems very flat where it should feel more saying well-rounded. I don't know.
Yeah. I was thinking about the scene where the grandfather is just busting out of the back of the semi when he opens the doors and is firing. He looks pretty flat there.
He's really good at detail. He very clearly has an intention for character design and making people look.
I think it looks beautiful as well, even if there are critiques on facial expressions and all that. I still think on the whole the page looks beautiful.
I think
sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you. Connection, go ahead.
Yeah, I think something has changed between the first issue and the second and third issue. Like the first issue might have been made well before the other, the rest of the issues. Because it seems like from the first issue to now, he was drawing the younger brother and this other girl much younger, and then suddenly they actually do look almost like adults here in this comic.
I think that was intentional because the passage of time seems to have been maybe a year or two after the big PM. It seems like. I don't know if that was.
No. I'm talking about when we're introduced to this girl and her grandpa at. I think that's the end of issue 1.
Oh, gotcha.
And then the younger brother at the beginning of issue 1. Not the flashbacks.
Sure.
Even then, him working in his lab looked much younger than what we're seeing in this issue. Like they've aged them up from looking like, I don't know, 12 or 13 to looking like, maybe 17-year-olds or something. They look a few years older.
I feel like that's more of an issue with Tony Daniel not really being able to consistently draw like ages. Did you know? You'll notice in like page 3 or 4, there's a point where M is in the truck, and for some reason his snout, like his brow and snout, are like dramatically more out than any other sequence.
Oh,
yeah. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. It's just a consistency issue.
Yeah.
I mean, that being said, I am still really enjoying this. I am reading it, and I'm like, oh yeah, I really want to know what happens next with these shades, these mutations.
Yeah.
What the history of what happened with their parents was really fucked up, and I
dark. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the kind of fucked up I like. You know, like it's the stuff
you like everything fucked up.
Not like you. You're addicted to fucked up shit, you fucking crackhead. I didn't think I was going to enjoy this. It's another one of those books.
This was going to be make or break for Snyder with me, because I didn't enjoy his recent DC stuff, and then Undiscovered Country is very one issue hits, one issue misses. I feel a little.
I think that's one of those stories that when I'm reading it, I think that it could have been something completely different, and I probably would have still enjoyed it. But knowing that
I think it was issue 12, the final issue so far before they took the break, where I was reading it and I was like, this is just Snyder doing exactly what he's done at DC.
Kind of. I'm going to disagree with that just slightly, just because I think that...
Sorry, has Josh read it?
Undiscovered Country? Yeah, I'm all caught up. Okay, I read the 2 volumes back to back, so it flowed well for me.
I feel like they're doing the hero's journey in a certain light. I mean, in a lot of ways, but I really enjoy the way it's done. You know, I'm excited to see about where the next zone is going to take them.
Yeah,
you know?
I am enjoying.
I've read,
but it was just like issue 12, like the 2 characters became like massive, like sort of giant versions of themselves. They were just fighting. I was like, this is just typical Scott Snyder. Yeah. It literally happened in Death Metal, where 2 characters became massive and started fighting.
Yeah. And at the end of Justice League, when the fucking Doom
exactly
versus the Hall of Justice, like Transformers, Go-Go Bots, fucking button heads,
and it's weird because this is such like a big, like it's such a sort of like explosive story he's telling here, but it feels much smaller scale.
So which is where he really first shines. We're gonna have some sort of big monster battle later on in Nocterra.
Because Scott Snyder doesn't know how to write otherwise.
I've said this before. I'm going to say it again.
We got it out of the way.
He is a big fan of My Hero Academia and watches it all the time with his kids.
Oh, dude. I was going to say this Undiscovered Country, he's just copying One Piece.
He is a big anime fan, and it is very clear in his storytelling because it's fucking grandiose as hell. The only thing that's missing is like this over crazy amount of detail about stuff that he's made up, where it's like, well, yes, of course, because if you look at the way that Tien is coursing through your body like you have to plan for the crossbow to enter his heart, where it's going to stay in there, but only if you make a promise to the demon.
Yeah, not enough muscles or boobs either, so. And that's why I'm out.
All right. Can I move on to Firepower?
Yeah, Firepower number...
Where's my Firepower? Where'd my Firepower go?
Number 11 by Kirkman and Chris Samnee.
Just right here.
Where did it go? Where is it?
I gotta go find it.
Did you really lose it?
I thought I grabbed it. It's probably still over there. Hold on. Keep talking.
You slut. And there he goes.
This was a cool
Every
issue.
fucking episode he does this, where he's like, I'm just gonna leave the room like a ballerina.
He's like, better go feed the kids in the basement.
Like the parents in Nocterra.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, we love you.
See, he does the twist. Every time he leaves and he comes back, he does a little twist.
It's because if he opens the door too much, we see his children chained up in
Flourish!
All right, I got
it. This was a really good issue. I liked it a lot.
I love
that
than the last
opening title page. Just reusing that same picture, but it looks so cool.
Yeah,
it's very cool. I really liked it.
This was heavy action, but I think it had a few good character beats in it.
Yeah. I actually am really opposed to heavy action, but I thought this was well done here.
It was done for a reason, and it had a
I've got
purpose
complaints.
with the characters.
Exactly.
Of course
You've
you
got
do,
complaints?
Josh.
I've got complaints, but we can get to that. It's later on.
Okay. I mean, the only thing I was just going to say was this feels like a Kirkman book once again, which I'm happy about because it kind of lost me for a minute. I don't know if that was just me. It just didn't feel like a Kirkman book before. Like I was like, I know this is Kirkman writing this based on the way it's written, but it just doesn't feel like a Kirkman book. And
Yeah,
now
like the last two issues did have a bit of a strange. They did feel a little off.
Yeah, I don't really know how to put a finger on it. It just didn't feel like.
Well, this issue, instead of having the square blocks, we have the shape of the panels is basically dictated by the different attacks that people are using. So here, everything is just diagonal slices, but then we turn the page and we're getting,
like the curved one. Yeah,
that's pretty cool. It's a neat touch.
That's just for Samnee, man. He just knows
his paneling and just transitions are next level.
Can you imagine what he'll be like on a Batman book?
I want him to do Black Label Batman so bad.
So bad. This, I again didn't think I was going to. I was really kind of expecting to be like, oh, firepower, because like those last two issues were just not getting me, and this was really nice. I mean, maybe it was the speech, maybe it was the reveal about Owen's former love interest, Ling Zhang.
Okay. One thing about that is Owen is fighting this trio, Chow Feng's, elite squad, and I'm pretty sure it's like, I'm pretty sure she tosses him the sword and he says thanks, and then he's just kind of smiling off at the person. I'm like, oh, maybe he knows.
Mm.
And then later on we find out he didn't know. He's like, oh my god.
He didn't know. He's like, oh my god.
He just collapses in the middle of battle, like, what the fuck is happening?
It was a weird choice, especially the way that he was like characterized and framed in a way, right? Like if I just found out that like my former like love of my life,
Ling Zan,
is back from the dead, I'd probably be a lot more impacted. I probably wouldn't just be like, oh.
I guess I'll sit down here.
I'll just sit down in the middle of the battle.
We only saw like the panel where he found out. We didn't really get any aftermath of that to see his full reaction. It's just like, what?
That's
he just
true.
Plops down.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I mean, there's only 2 pages left in the comic after that.
Yeah. I thought it was interesting what's going on with Wei Lun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like that last sequence. Why are they talking to the statue? Are you as confused as I am? Is the dragon?
Yeah. It doesn't look like it's cracking or anything. Like that crack looks like it's been there already.
Yeah.
Yeah, I took it to be it's gonna like someone's gonna wake up from the statue kind of thing.
That's why I was confused.
That or nothing happens.
Right? This is gonna be one of those fucking fake out incidents.
That's a Kirkman thing right there.
That is a thing. I hate it's fucking Kirkman. Every fucking he does that shit.
But like the first time, nothing's gonna happen, and then like at the end of the next issue, he'll pop out.
He'll just fucking fake you out because you all have no idea what's going on.
Yeah. So there's the whole part where Ma Guang, was that what his name was?
Yeah.
Basically does a whole speech telling everybody like, y'all are being tricked. You need to fight on our side. There's no reason we'd be doing this if we were, we're not just being assholes here. We're doing this because we know it's right.
Yeah.
And then I can't even tell if the tide has really been turned because there's still the not the Scorched Earth clan, but the everyone's still fighting. Both teams are still fighting each other. Like for one split second,
kind of. I mean,
they all turn and face these elite guards.
That's what I was just going to point out.
And then after that, it still looks like everybody on either side is just fighting each other. You can't really see them fighting alongside each other or anything like that.
It seems like what was going on was the speech happened and then everyone was like, got it. All right, we're all good guys now. Like, but the way it was drawn, it doesn't necessarily dictate that in like a very, very, very clear fashion. And
it could be some people have stopped and like if they split into the little.
Yeah. Maybe the group in the togas have split.
Yeah.
But you can't really tell. I mean, there's only what? Everybody turns and faces the elite guard, and then you've got 2 pages of that, and then that's basically the end of the comic. We don't really get enough time to really tell that things have changed.
Yeah. It was a weird choice there. I mean, I still really enjoyed it. I would say that I'm still picking it up. I'm definitely going to say that this is not. I wouldn't say that this is Kirkman's strongest book right now, which is weird to say because he only has 2 books out now.
Yeah, I think 11 and 12 need to be read together, and 12 is going to be a double-sized. You got to read the whole battle together.
Sure.
Yeah.
All right.
I didn't get a chance to read the back matter, but maybe there's something good in there.
You have a letter in there?
I didn't really get a chance to read that either, but oh well. Anything else to add, Sean?
No, I'm excited to see where it's going to go next. Like, I do want a little more focus on story because I feel like we've had a few issues now that have just been heavy action sequences with like a slight plot twist at the end and then repeat. Because we had that like whole issue on the airplane.
Yeah.
Where we didn't really get much story progression.
Yeah,
and
maybe we'll get what is that 4th member of the elite guard? They became the Serpent Warrior or something. Maybe they'll make an appearance.
Maybe.
Yeah.
That whole weird experience.
I speak for the snakes.
Okay.
Yes, I'm still enjoying this a lot, but I do want just a tiny bit more focus on plot.
Yeah. Right now, I'm kind of like,
yeah.
I don't know. 12 issues in is a good amount of time for a big action sequence, I guess.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I don't know. Maybe I'm being a little critical because like that first graphic novel was so good.
Yeah, and even like I feel like the first arc of the main book, like the first 6 issues, they did tell a good story. Like we had Owen of his kids, and there was a lot of human interaction there. Then the second arc just seems to have had a few issues of heavy action set pieces.
Mm-hmm.
And I just want to get back to more like the character focus of the first few issues were.
Here's the real question. I mean, the entire basis of this story has been revolving around this temple and Owen like having the firepower and everything. What's going to happen? Like, I mean, is there going to be a big plot change once the dragon comes out? I mean, there's only so much. I've been
real curious about that because it seems like that was the end of the journey there, but you know, we got to find out,
right?
We don't know what could happen next, what direction the story's going to go.
Exactly.
I think I read they're going to, go back to focusing on the family, I think. Oh, that's what it was. That was the solicitations for maybe issue 13. I think they're only taking a month, maybe not even off.
Okay. I mean, that's a pretty normal thing for Image, so I'm not surprised by that.
Yeah. I think that
12
comes out in June, and then I think August is when the next issue comes out.
Okay.
But I think the focus next, or at least like an in-between kind of focus, is going to be on the family.
Okay. Cool.
I wish more books at like Marvel and DC would do that thing where they take a break between arcs.
Yeah.
It would make the stories a lot stronger, would have less fill-in artists. The story could have time to breathe, and you could really have like a bombshell ending to an arc, and you can have like 2 or 3 months where you're still like, what's going to happen next kind of thing.
Well, it also allows for people to like have discussion. I mean, don't get me wrong, obviously have a month for in between issues to sit down and chat about it, but the anticipation always ends up making it stronger. That's what makes a lot of like television shows go so strong, is because you have that chance to have that like sit down and talk. Speaking of Marvel, Heroes Reborn #1 has come out.
Whatever Happened to Earth's Mightiest Heroes
by Jason Aaron and Ed McGuiness. And I actually liked this.
I liked most of it. There are a few bits that felt very Silver Agey and a bit overwritten.
Yeah, really immense. So that's which is weird because I don't associate that style of writing with Jason Aaron.
Yeah, that's not the impression I've had from him before, so I was a bit surprised as well.
I just don't really understand he's definitely started doing that more with the Avengers, and I don't really know why.
Yeah. It was the Doom and the Squadron Supreme stuff that felt overwritten to me. The Blade stuff I really liked.
This kind of reminded me of Infinite Frontier Zero. There's just so much stuff going on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, okay. here's a thought that I just had. Maybe he's doing the Silver Age stuff.
I think because of a Squadron Supreme, like he's like, this is like your Silver Age team, Justice League ripoff. Yeah, I do get it, but it was a struggle to read a few pages.
Like, this is definitely better than some of the other stuff I've read from him in his Avengers run. And,
yeah, you said his Avengers run has been kind of hit or miss.
Well, it's really weird. But there were so many points where I was like, this is fucking hitting home. It's just going pop, pop, pop. The vampire war that was going on with Dracula was fucking sick. Like, I read that and I was beyond hyped. Dracula is scary as fuck. You got a whole bunch of like squadrons of vampires. That one guy's got a little Man-Thing, like kid Man-Thing Jr., and he's got this big fucking SWAT gear on. You've got like this weird demon vampire thing. It's just really and the Namor or is it Namor? Whatever.
Namor.
Atlantean army. Those fucking guys are sick as fuck. He's got a whole army of underwater like warriors. One's like an orca, the other one's like a big fucking shark, and the other one's like this fucking demon witch that lives in the depths of the ocean. And you're like, yeah, give me that shit. Fuck yeah. But then nothing happened with the Atlantean storyline because for some reason Marvel and DC just don't want cool shit to happen with Atlantis for some fucking reason. Same thing happened with the eventual air quotes storyline that was going to happen with Jeff Johns doing an Atlantis War.
Rise of the Seven Seas.
It's
coming, guys. Me and Cullen Bunn are working on it. Oh, Cullen Bunn's off the book now. Okay. Me and Dan Abnett are working on it still. It's coming.
Am I not realizing something here? Where's the Namor stuff in this issue?
No, that wasn't in this. I'm saying that Namor was in the Avengers stuff.
All right.
Yeah.
I like this. I mean, the art's still strong. I definitely.
Ed McGuinness has changed up his style a little, hasn't he? Or is it a different colorist?
I think it's a colorist.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's a lot of things about this that were. It seems like the extreme exaggeration version of Ed McGuinness in a lot of ways.
It did, but it just like the bodies were there. I think it's the coloring that was slightly different.
You know what was weird is like if you look at Red Hulk Ed McGuinness, like that's so much more balloony and like plump, and this feels a little bit more refined. So I have an appreciation for this.
Oh no, I do think the art was really good. It wasn't a complaint.
Okay. I enjoyed it a lot. Actually, I enjoyed the Black Skull Air Venom. I enjoyed Dr. Juggernaut.
I didn't like the Dr. Juggernaut thing.
It's still Doom because he's got the letters on his knuckles that spell Doom.
Doc Doom. That's fucking like he's a wrestler, like Stone Cold Steve Austin or something.
No, it's just maybe it is Doc on. That wouldn't make sense because his right hand says Doom and this says Doc, but they're not reversed.
No, I think they both say Doom.
It says like Doom Doc. Doom. It could be Doom.
I'm Doom.
I think it's two Dooms because you've got like the D-O and then you've got like half of
an O. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's two Dooms. But yeah, that was just like so over the top Silver Agey. Whereas like the first few pages where you have Blade's narration, we see Robbie Reyes.
Something that's going to read backwards. Mood. He's in a mood, dude. Swallow.
It's not the first time he said that today.
I just want you to know it hurts a lot when you make me laugh when I have coffee going through my nose. So Dr. Mood is trying to punch the White House. Anyways,
I got nothing else.
Yeah, I liked the final bit with Thor, and then we see Blade go off, and then we obviously get the end anyway.
I really fucking love that Thor is wearing an Amon Amarth t-shirt, and if you guys don't know who that is a Viking metal band.
That's pretty good.
All right.
A nice little detail.
Very on the nose. I love it.
But yeah, that last panel where Blade's got his hand against the ice and he's like, Avengers assemble.
So cheesy.
It was cheesy, but it hit me.
Did it really?
A little bit, yeah.
You are so weird. You are so impacted by the weirdest shit and then not affected by other things. And I don't understand you.
So why was Blade chosen as the character to travel to this? This is like a new dimension, right?
Yeah. Well, no. He woke up one day in this reality and the Avengers are gone in this world.
Yeah. So okay. I wasn't sure if you were calling this like a different dimension or something.
No.
What was the setup in Avengers for this event?
Thank you for asking, because that's what I was just going to say. So the setup was Coulson has been mind manipulating the Squadron Supreme, and it's kind of a question of...
Phil's not a bad guy, is he?
Yes, he is.
Oh, no, not Phil.
That's why he was set up the way he is as President Coulson. He's the big bad. Yeah, I know. My heart went out too. I was like, not Coulson.
Mm-hmm.
He's falling apart.
Look what they've done to my boy.
Call Mum. Look what they've done to my boy.
He was never the same since he got back from Tahiti.
Yeah.
It's a magical place.
It's weird because I didn't really pick up on whether or not the Squadron Supreme were like actual people or robots, but there's something in their minds that allows Coulson